What up, guys? Figured I'd give you a What's Really Hood. And this one comes from J-Chip Show. Very good friend of the channel. And always in the comment sections and stuff like that. J-Chip's a good dude. Go check him out. Good guy. And J-Chip messaged me. And he brought up a subject that he thought would be good for What's Really Hood. And that is, let me try to explain this correctly. Do I think that movie games should follow the movies that they're in? So Friday the 13th, should it play just like the movie? Nightmare on Elm Street, should it play just like the movie? Back to the Future, RoboCop, I mean all your stuff. Demolition Man, everything. Any movie tie-in you ever play, are you a stickler for the video game following the movie? And this one is kind of an easy one for me. And that is a hard no. That is a hard no. And I brought this up to a couple of friends the other day in a chat. And I actually said, no, I don't think it should follow it at all. I think it should be very loosely. I think it should take the characters and capture that, okay, you're playing Nightmare on Elm Street or you're playing Friday the 13th, and you should understand, compared to the movies, what the whole point is, like who the character is. Freddy's going to try to kill you. Friday the 13th, yeah, you're in Crystal Lake and Jason tries to kill you and stuff. So understanding that stuff, understanding that in Nightmare on Elm Street, oh, I'm falling asleep, and that means he's going to come get me, but that means I have superpowers, and blah, 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 blah. So in that sense, they follow the movie enough. And then when you look at something like Back to the Future, I felt like they followed the grasp of the movie enough. You know what I mean? That, you know, you're collecting clocks, which may seem kind of silly, but the whole point is he's fighting the clock the whole game, the whole movie, throughout every movie. So it's not that it's following the exact movie, but it's following the concept of the movie. It's always about time, and I don't have time to do things, and he's got to hurry up and do this and that. And then they captured some of the main areas from Back to the Future, but like really, you know, they made it into a game. The reason I don't think that they should necessarily follow the movie so much is because of something like I'm talking about, like with Back to the Future. Like, what are they supposed to do? There's sometimes with movies, if you were given the task to make it a video game, it's hard. It's hard to do it. Because it'll be kind of boring. You have to understand, this is a video game. You got to make it exciting. You got to make it fun. It's got to be constant action. It's a video game, man. So if you try to tie that in with a movie, a lot of times the movies have a lot of talking, a lot of character build-up and stuff. And obviously none of that can really go in the freaking game. A good example of that was Rambo for the NES, where they almost put too much of stuff from the movie into that game. Like, it was almost like word for word, and although it was fine, if they would have just taken the Rambo character and made a movie, Contra, then they would have had a lot better game. You know what I mean? If they would have just taken those key characters and that key concept and built upon it. And speaking of Rambo, where I was talking to my other friends about this, was I said, I think it would be so cool, with everything being kind of flashed back now, you know, when you play the Mortal Kombat games and things like that, you know, you're able to get the Ninja Turtles and 80s Rambo and Terminator, and, you know, they have a lot of retro people, right? A lot of retro characters. I think it'd be cool if they made a straight up Rambo game, a new Rambo game that's maybe like third person, and, or even first person. It could be either one. And you make a new story of him back when he was young. He looks like that, red bandana, built, all that stuff. And you just make this generic story about him having to go back to Vietnam and having to rescue prisoners or go find somebody or do something. And I think it'd be really freaking cool if you just made your own game based upon the character and not worrying about so much making it exactly like the movie, you know? So that's what I think would be really cool. And I think they kind of, I'm assuming, did that with Alien Isolation and Terminator, what was it called? Resistance. And what they did is they took the characters and they just made the story out of it, right? It's probably not following any specific movie or anything like that, but it's taking things from the movie and bringing it into a game, but with its own story, with its own characters. And I wish they would do the same thing more. I wish they would do that a lot, you know? And yeah, I don't ever play these movie-based games, even like Total Recall or Last Action Hero, True Lies, you know, all these games that were movie-based. To me, they don't need to follow the movie exactly, but they need to be a video game. They need to be fun, you know? I think True Lies is a really good example of making something a game that didn't necessarily happen in the movie, but you make this cool top-down kind of shooter game, and it's really cool, you know? Which, by the way, if you haven't played True Lies, definitely give it a go. True Lies is a really decent game. But, yeah, I mean, I was even a little bummed out when they came out with that Friday the 13th newer game that was all online, and now they have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game all online. And I kind of, you know, was like, it sucks, kind of, because I was kind of hoping it was a game, like a campaign, where you're some group of friends that, you know, you ended up going on a trip, and now you're in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's house, and you're trying to get out of there, and you're trying to fight him, and you know, maybe he's following you around and stuff. I thought that'd be awesome if it was more of like there was a story to it, and they came out with a story-based game. Same with Friday the 13th. I think they could easily make like basically a remake of the original game where you're a counselor and you have to save all the kids, but you got Jason running around, man. And I think it'd be a really creepy, really awesome game. I think those online games are fun too, don't get me wrong, but I think that they get boring very quickly. I think that you could play those games for 1 or 2 nights, and then that's it. You know, you start repeating maps, you start repeating all the things you've already seen, and you're leveling up your characters, and I think it probably just gets kind of boring, you know, where if you had a story to it, it would leave more of an impression, and it would last for more hours and things like that, and be a lot cooler. But that's just me. That's just me. But do I think that games need to exactly follow movies and stuff? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And like I told you, I almost wish that they would go farther past it and that they wouldn't follow the movie, so that it'd be a little bit more exciting, you know? I remember I played Darkman for the NES and stuff like that. And those games were really just video games. They very loosely followed it. A lot of times they weren't that bad. Like RoboCop was really decent on the NES and stuff. Even Batman, it's not like you really beat the hell out of the Joker at the end and fought all these other bosses, but it's cool. It's cool that they made it a fucking video game, you know? So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. What do you guys think? Do you want games to be exactly canon with the movie, and you want it to follow every main scene and stuff like that? Or do you just want it to be a regular game? Like, if you had to choose one or the other, what do you want, you know? Because you even got games like The Predator on the NES, and they didn't follow the movie at all. It just took the character and made a game, and to be honest, I thought it was a pretty decent game. It was alright. I had fun with it. And it captured the whole point of the movie. Like, yep, you gotta kill this predator. This predator's hunting you down. He's trying to get your ass, and you gotta kill him. It's him or you. And that's it. He's the final boss at the end. He's chasing you all game long as you get through all the levels, and all the levels are like a jungle, kinda, and caves and things like that. And yeah, he's coming after you, man. You know, you gotta try to beat him, you know? So I thought it was pretty cool. But, you know, I'm sure I'm missing a lot of the movie tie-in games. But a good example of something that's probably trying to follow the movie a little too much and didn't make it a good game is something like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You know, it's like, yeah, we get the concept that you got to get all these different things and you got to like take them to the certain places, but it's like you kind of tried to just you kind of forgot to make just a good video game, though. You know, you kind of made like this crappy game, probably because you're too worried about the movie, you know, and how close it ties in with, oh, you got to make sure you go talk to this guy because that's who they talk to in the movie and stuff, you know, or this is the place they went to in the movie, you know. It's like, I don't know, just try to make it more like a game, you know, make it fun. It's all about being a video game, you know. I think that's why, like, I like that stuff like Batman. If you look at it, it wasn't really called Batman the movie. It was called Batman the video game. And I think that was, they did that on purpose. And it was to basically say, listen, this isn't going to follow the movie exactly. It's going to have a lot of different villains in it. But you will fight Joker at the end. And you will see some familiar scenarios. You know what I mean? But it isn't going to follow the movie exactly. The cutscenes aren't exactly from the movie. You know, and I think that's what makes for an awesome game like Batman. You know, they didn't worry about it. They just took that character and cool music and stuff like that. And they captured the essence of what Mario, of what Batman is, and they made a video game out of it, and it was freaking awesome. You know, and they were successful, and it was literally one of the best games on the NES. And it's because if you have a lot of these licenses, man, that's the key. You have this awesome license. You have a Rambo as a license. How in the hell did you not make an awesome game? You know what I mean? The game they made was whatever, but, you know, they could have done a lot better. Like when you looked at things like Contra and things like that, you know, they definitely could have done a better job in that regard, right? As a runaround shooter in the woods, why didn't they just do that? You know? Even things like Akari Warriors, where I understand that wasn't a good game, but even that would have made a little bit more sense that when everybody wanted to be Rambo when they were a little kid and everybody was dressed as Halloween, you know, outfits and they were watching the movie and everybody was wearing their red headbands and stuff like that and obsessed with it. And every time you had a big Nerf gun or something like that, you were acting like you're Rambo. It wasn't that we wanted to go around and talk to people in a video game. No, we wanted to fucking shoot people and go crazy and shoot down helicopters and shoot rocket launchers and all this stuff. You know, that's what you wanted to do. You didn't think about going on this big, like, Zelda 2 Adventures of Link adventure. You wanted to fucking run around and shoot people, man. That's what you wanted to do, like Contra. But anyway, that's my take on that, guys. Hope you're doing well. And I'll talk to you.